Hi there, and a warm welcome to Canada on the Ford World Men's Curling Championship 2017. We're here in Edmonton, the capital of Canada's Alberta province. This is a busy city, more than 1 million people here, and there's always something going on. More than 60 festivals a year here. And our action is centred at the Northlands Coliseum. Here's downtown Edmonton in the background, and there's the Coliseum. All the round robin sessions are happening, and this is our game in men's session 7. It's Scotland against Canada. Canada unbeaten thus far. Scotland with a couple of wins under their belt. I'm Alison Walker, and alongside me, Hans Fraunlob. Updates from the other games as well, but this is the game we'll be concentrating on. Live commentary coming up on Scotland against Canada. So there's the lineups. The lead player, Michael Goodfellow. Scott Andrews at second. Greg Drummond, third player. And the Scotland skip, David Murdoch. And for Canada, lead player Jeff Walker. At second, Brett Gallant. Third player Mark Nichols. And their skip Brad Gushu. Alternate Tom Sallows and coach Jules Oucha. And look at the standings. Canada leading the way. 3 wins, no losses. Switzerland and Sweden hanging in there on 3-1. Japan on 2-1. And Scotland, 2 wins and 2 losses. Need to get their round robin going. Norway, 2-2 as well, same as the USA. A couple of teams still to get their win mark going. Other games going on sheet A, we have Netherlands, China. On sheet B, it's Norway against Russia. Sweden, Japan on sheet C. And our game on sheet D, Scotland against Canada. Great atmosphere inside the Northlands Coliseum. Great turnout, mainly to watch the Canadian game, but lots going on in this session. Great atmosphere building. And Hans, outstanding favourites, obviously, Canada. Can Scotland make a dent into them, do you think?
Well, it's going to be a big challenge, and hello everybody, and it's great to be here in Edmonton. The players love playing here, and it'll be a big bounce back test for Team Scotland. They played earlier today and suffered a loss to China. As you saw in the standings, they're on 2-2, so this is a really important game for them if they've got playoff aspirations. But facing the toughest of tests in the hometown team, Canada, skipped by Brad Gushu, Olympic champion. The Murdoch team has got the skill and the shots to win this game. Their front end is playing remarkably well, and it's going to take a top effort to best this Gushu team, who they're not exactly cruising through this field, but they're on 3-0 and they're feeling pretty good, and they're carrying over the momentum they carried on from winning the Canadian Championship recently.
Have they been challenged yet properly, do you think?
Well, many would have said it would have come last night against Sweden's Nicka Dean. That would have been the contest that many would have said is, okay, if you're handicapping the field, that's the battle for the top. That was a relatively close game, but they handled the Dean comfortably. But this is a class field. This is a world championship. 12 nations are here, and Dave Murdoch knows what it feels like to stand at the top of the podium. His teammates have got skill and talent, so they'll be unafraid. They'll have to go out there and play their game. This is their 4th consecutive game. They played 2 games afternoon, evening yesterday, and the morning draw, and now the afternoon draw today. So it's a physical test as well as a mental one for them.
And I wonder how much support Scotland will have against Canada, because they are a popular team here, aren't they?
Well, Canadian curling fans love curling, and they love curling nations, and Scotland, of course, being the birthplace of the sport. Canadian fans have always got a soft spot for a Scottish team, but probably unless they're playing a Canadian team. There are fans here from Scotland, and they'll be vocal, and the atmosphere for here should be fantastic, and I hope you enjoy it. I know we will.
I know, looking at the two skips there, having a little bit of chat just before the games get started and looking quite relaxed. Here's Mike Goodfellow, lead player for Scotland, 28 years old, from Stirling and lives in Stirling. He's a full-time curler. He's a very good golfer as well, but I doubt he's had much time for golf over the last year or so, concentrating on getting this team together, getting them to the World Championships, and he has performed really well this week, Hans, hasn't he?
Well, he certainly has. His percentages well into the 90s. He was in the high 90s in the game against China earlier today, so once again, perfect center guard to start the game for Scotland.
And this is Jeff Walker, lead player for Team Canada. He's 31 years old, from Beaver Lodge in Alberta, lives in St. John's and plays out of Ballyhally and Remax Centre in St. John's. He's an instructor and greenskeeper and been with Team Gushu for about 4 years now, and also playing very well.
Yeah, strong addition to this Gushu foursome, and as you mentioned, Allison, a native of this province of Alberta, so I'm sure he'll have family and friends in the crowd tonight.
Top it! Top it! Line's good. Right on it. Should be to it. We're to it. Okay, line's perfect.
And what a game to bounce back in Scotland after that defeat to China. If you can't get up for a game against Canada, then you shouldn't be here.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
No, absolutely right. Team Scotland will know, and they've played this Brad Gushu team many times, not only in World Championships, but in Olympic Games and on the tour, so they'll know each other well. And there will be no doubt that Scotland will be at full throttle for this one.
Back four.
Looks like we can expect a fairly aggressive first end.
And no surprises there. Both of these teams very confident in their ability to place the rock pretty much anywhere they please, so no fear of being a little bit aggressive. Canada does have the hammer here in the first. Goes back 8. There's David Murdoch. Tying it up.
Second player for Scotland, Scott Andrews. 7 years with this team now, Scott. Originally from Irvine in Scotland, but lives in Kilmarnock.
Freeze us. Yep. Not back there.
Silver medal at the Olympic Games. Biggest achievement in 2014.
Slight tick on that stone in the 8 foot to come around, so not perfectly buried, available for Gushu.
Be a little slower this path, eh?
Players comparing notes about different paths the stones have been going down early in the game. It can fool you a little bit. The teams in the pregame practice will throw outside in a lot, so Brett Gallant now just checking the weight. It is a down weight shot.
He's 27, 23 years a curler, so he was on the ice very, very young indeed. Silver medal at the World Juniors in 2009. And 4 years with this team.
Is it going to jam on the back one? Oh, that worked out really well for Team Canada. Didn't think they could get inside on it, but they did.
Just through?
We could ping this.
Just ping it, I think.
Yeah.
Technical term, ping.
Yep, ping that rock.
Just peel. Nice peel.
Yep.
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 Try to hit half of the stone and remove both of the Canadian counters. Ping. There they go.
Okay.
There's a ping and another ping.
Yes, that's a double ping. So that one stone belonging to Scotland, half behind that center guard in the top 8 foot.
Nothing right now.
Stay with it.
Just to the hack. Stay
with
it. Gonna need to pick.
Oh, I think this one is wide and maybe not going to move.
Not quite to the hack. No.
Maybe a little bit now.
It's almost a foot wide.
Grazes it.
Okay, take.
Waiting on being good.
Yeah.
So an error there for Team Canada. Gallant, according to his teammates, a foot wide. It seems like a lot. It's a bit of an extreme bit of feedback, but
I don't think it was quite a foot.
no, probably not a foot.
Yep, I think so. To go that far back.
Yeah.
A similar pathway for Scotland here. This is Greg Drummond. 28 years old, Greg. Born in Dundee and lives in Stirling in Scotland. He's a full-time athlete. And 7 years with Team Murdoch. And again, part of that silver medal winning team in Sochi in 2014.
Really hard.
Love
Come on.
to get a medal here.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay.
Very nice stone by Drummond. Sits at top 4, fully buried.
Came down a touch, huh?
And a reasonable angle here for the Scots as well. We can see their stone is
I threw here in practice, Brad.
half open, but set up to jam.
He threw here in practice. Les? With board weight, I think this will be good. Okay, I think this is minimum. I'd like right here, Mark. I'm just saying, I threw here in practice. Okay,
So
trust it.
Mark Nichols is quite adamant about the line of the shot, saying, I don't need a lot of ice here, Brad, because I threw down this line in practice.
Little light.
He's 37.
Little light. Yep.
Started curling when he was just 7 years old. Born in Labrador City, also lives in St. John's. Been with the team 4 years.
Okay, good shot.
Nice stone there by Nichols.
He was confident about the line, wasn't he?
Well, this is one of the things I love about this Team Canada.
Probably okay, Mark.
Mark Nichols and Brad Gushu have been curling together since junior days, and they know each other really, really well. They trust each other. And earlier this season, when Brad Gushu was suffering a hip injury, Mark stepped up and skipped the team. Did very, very well on the circuit. So they're definitely a partnership of equals at the back end in Canada.
Yeah, he understands.
Here, firm. Control. Firm.
And they listen to each other. And
Firm control. Whoa.
This one's got to move a bit. It's half, spills away. So this opens the door now for the Canadians to maybe...
Roll a rock. Nose is okay. Yeah. Nose straight. Yeah. You want the same weight, or do you like here?
The danger of rolling behind the center guard is you slide behind the T line and give Scotland a chance to freeze and get out at the end.
A little better, hey? I would think, yes.
Maybe a little more late.
Looking to nose hit this one or just roll a tiny bit to the outside.
look at the crowd there, absorbed in this game already.
Yep,
So close to the action.
Heavy board. Gotta go. Lots of weight. Hard. 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 Hard.
Gallant and Walker trying to hold the line.
That's good. Great shot.
Great brushing.
Good shot, sweep and jab. That's good. Good shot. That's pretty heavy too. Good shot.
Wasn't the prettiest throw.
A little snug. Threw your first one really good, Mark. It was minimum there because I seen Scott's come down. He threw peel and a curl big.
Oh, I know.
I didn't like any less than that.
Oh, I know.
Nichols
I was
still
saying, I
talking
threw that
about that
exact
first
spot
shot
with
that Nichols
board
threw.
in practice.
Okay.
And I never ever would have touched the guard.
Okay.
So there you go, just closing the loop. They both firmly holding their opinions and explaining them to each other about their icing decision.
And now Brad's come back again. He had the last word
but
there.
I'm still pretty right.
So Dave Murdoch, my
Here, Dad.
Scottish skip, 38 years old.
Wait's okay. Wait's okay. Whoa. Wait's okay. Close. Yep.
He's won this world title a few years ago, but he has been there a couple of times.
Real hard. Hard. Whoa, whoa.
Scotland would love the roll behind the center guard, and there it is, maybe just popping out the
Yeah.
other side.
Just a bit far.
Good try, man.
Finish the here at the end.
Shouldn't have.
Wry smile there from Dave.
With like with just board.
He's playing a double.
Against
Yeah,
Canada,
which is
you've just
fine.
got to be so accurate.
Board.
Yep. I kind of like this.
Still have to play your natural
What do you like
game,
going
though, I
under?
think, Allison, because you're right. I think many teams, when they're facing a team the caliber of Canada, try to press for that maximum, and you can't live an entire game in the red zone of perfection. It just isn't there. So sometimes trying to reach that takes a team off
Like
their
just
own
board.
game. And so I think it'll be important for the Scots to play their own natural game, back their
My first
own
thought was
Do you know,
shots.
and what they're good at.
Absolutely.
Fight the
right.
line.
Yeah.
And that the word you always bring
he's
back
good.
to me,
He's still on the
Hans, is
draw.
patience.
Yeah.
You know,
Trying to roll it under.
the desire is just to rush in there almost.
Under
And
half a rock would be ideal.
Sometimes you try a little bit too hard to make something happen, and
Close to where you
you
threw
have to
yours
make
in,
good
right?
choices about when you press the go button.
Yeah.
So,
try and be as measured about it as you can.
What am I looking for weight? Like, is it a little slower in this pass?
just a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but with that extra one, it might not be as
slow.
bad. 4 feet.
So here he is, Brad Gushu, the Canadian skip. 36 years old now.
Clean.
The hack weight shot, just trying to get a cross nose.
Yep. A little light. Whoa.
Just looking every event, world event he has played in,
Close. Yep.
from Olympics to World Juniors, he has won the gold medal.
Hard. Right to it. No roll. No roll. Go.
Wants to push it out of the rings, not quite, but a very nice stone there by Gushu. The Scottish stone clings to the back of the 12, but Canada won't care about that because they're
Came
lined
down, eh?
first
It
and
did.
second shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a curl that came down. I thought it was good out of my hand.
He's always just hacked, but
Always reviewing, always saying, what else could we have done?
curled and
And the reason he was a bit disappointed
Really
in the
came
down
down
weight,
there.
Brett's did the same thing.
it
like
made
when
it
we
curl and
thought
finish
Brett's
and
was
popped out a
hard,
little bit to the
when
open
he
side.
threw at his and ended up ticking it and staying,
Yeah.
like, because you wanted,
Solid hack.
yeah. But I thought when he let it go.
So an important early
15
test
seconds,
now
dude,
coming
yeah.
up for David
Yeah.
Murdoch.
Slight hair down from this morning. Just a touch, eh? Like
3 seconds.
It's a little higher, that's all right.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But I like, you know,
Thought he might chase it. Try.
He's going to attempt to freeze down to this Canadian stone and make it really difficult to get to.
this now.
T-line.
T-line.
Line up and close. Line's good, guys.
Can't afford to bounce off the Canadian stone, otherwise you might drop 3.
Got room. We're bouncing.
And there is the bounce word.
He kind of knows it already. It's pretty speedy, isn't it?
Okay.
Small bounce, but
Still not bad.
The same path
Same
thing through,
spot as
right?
mine, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Murdoch knows
Margins
6
here.
inches heavy.
I don't mind an inch or two more.
Now, can Brad Gushu squeeze on the inside of that red Scottish stone and have enough weight to push it through the rings and maybe score 3? What a start that would be.
literally a foot.
Literally a foot. Yeah, not even, Dave. 6 inches.
More. Yeah.
Well, that is this game of curling,
Here,
though.
lads.
At
Certainly
this
is.
level. So last stone of the first end. What will be the number here for Canada?
Board.
Yep. Whoa.
Same weight as you had here.
Lead.
Whoa.
Board, just.
No.
I think he stepped his weight up on this one, Allison. Is it going to curl?
Hard on the red.
Hard mark.
Hard mark.
Gotta go.
Target.
Well, it's 1 for sure, and it is a score of 2 for
yeah.
Canada.
I think that's a little bit of a let-off.
Very
for
much so.
Dave Murdoch, and he'll take that. It's still 2 for Canada, which is a super start for them. Something psychological about 3 that just changes everything. But anyway, end 1, Scotland 0, Canada 2. Welcome back to our live coverage of the Ford World Men's Curling Championship 2017. This is our feature game. It's Scotland against the host nation, Canada. And it's first blood, if you like, to Canada, 2-0 in that first end. This is the Northlands Coliseum, and a fantastic venue for this World Championship, full of Canadian fans who are extremely knowledgeable about the game and enjoying the action.
Interesting end to that first end. Brad Gushue stepped up his weight a little bit and very nearly jammed the Scottish stone onto his own counter. That could have been a disaster for the Canadians with a shot at 3 and maybe even giving up a steal, but they got away with it. Pushed the Scottish stone deep, but a count of 2. And now Scotland takes the hammer into the second. Corner guard indicated for Mike Goodfellow. And that's not unexpected from Team Murdoch. That's almost standard procedure for them. They'll always throw the corner guard when they've got the hammer. Unless they've got a massive lead.
Reminder of the rules of play for you. 6 ends minimum in this round robin. We've got the 38-minute thinking time and the 160-second timeout, whenever they want to call it. Get the coach down and have a chat about a big decision, usually later on in the game.
Brett's in. Brett's in. Brett, go if you need to go.
And they do have to be aware of the time, don't they, Hans? It's not something, oh, we can easily make it. It has to be at the back of their minds that you can't hang about before every stone.
Have to keep it moving, and it's usually the task of one player on the team to keep an eye on the clock.
I think your 6 might curl a bit more.
I was 15, Mike, so.
Okay, so it's
That's on.
05.
And you hear the players, all these numbers and all about the timing of the ice and the stone. And
Yes, it is legal. You can see there on my
97.
Goodfellow's hip a
Tight guard.
stopwatch. Players are allowed to use a stopwatch to time intervals.
Looks a little heavier.
3.
Really tight. Line's
That
good.
gives them an idea of the pace of the stone.
Just line. Real tight. Get ready here. Weight's good.
Just past the right.
and that's mixed with a feel for it as well. It's not just about the technical aspect. There's a feel.
Many teams will have one player using a watch and the other player just using a DI, the sweepers that is, to just watch the release, because the clock might tell you something, but watching the release, and as he pulled it back, as he extended a bit, and those fine adjustments at this level are quite crucial sometimes.
Yeah, it's the difference between win and lose sometimes.
Hold me there. Good shot.
Okay. What do you like?
Gushu electing to rip a corner guard.
I don't mind this.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I'm better.
All quiet. Yeah. Yep. Yes, barrier. Keep him down, barrier.
Drummond solo sweeping to try and hold the line straight. Team Scotland, a obvious proponent of so-called directional sweeping to try and influence the path of the stone as much as they can with the brushes.
I like right on the nose.
Pushes the two Canadian stones behind the tee line, so Scotland hoping that they'll be able to get their own stones in front of those later in the end.
Good weight. Whoa. Whoa. It's a little hard, maybe. No. No. Roll it, Mark. Roll it.
Might jam.
Go.
Sneaks it by.
Keep going.
And it spins onto the rings for a bonus. Scotland won't mind that. They can use that stone at the top of the house now basically as a
Setting that
guard.
a bit, eh? Just a little. Yeah, never quite getting there with my interns.
Dave Murdoch immediately saying, thank you very much. I will draw around it. Looking to freeze to that stone.
T-line,
Back of the tee
four.
line.
We're doing this now. Just line. Line's pretty nice. Back four. Push, Greg. Yep.
Scott Andrews.
Just line only. Line only. Just line. Yep. Yep. Hard line. Okay. Okay.
Good looking rock here. Don't want to bounce.
Get in there. Good Scott. Beauty, Scott.
That is a honey. Great shot.
Tiny bounce.
Good, boys.
Good, good, Scott. Yeah, that was just a. That was almost more than a 10th on your drop.
I think it's okay. Okay.
The way they're angled though, Allison,
Just,
even if
hair
Canada
low,
ran
eh?
it back,
Yeah.
I think the Scottish stone would spring towards the other Canadian rock on the right hand of our picture as we're seeing it. So that's actually in a very nice location.
So it's the angle as well as the gap in between.
Indeed. Mark Nichols loves the heaters. There is that run back, and he squirts it past that Scottish stone, and that's a great shot from Mark Nichols.
Yep, well played by the Canadian third.
In the Olympic Games in 2006, Mark Nichols put on an incredible display of run backs just like this one, and was really instrumental in that Canadian team taking away the gold medal in Torino.
Maybe a touch fresh, but it should run
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
And still at the top of his game. They made it to these World Finals all those years later.
Normo. Normo. Normo.
Hey,
Right on the nose. Well, this Gushu team has been probably cursed with the label. In golf, they always say, you know, who's the best golfer never to win a major? And with Team Gushu, you know, who's the best Canadian team never to win a Canadian championship? Until this year, finally, even though they were Olympic gold medalists, they'd never won a Canadian championship. And this year, they finally broke through at the Brier in their home province. And they're very proud to wear the maple leaf here this week. And
Quiet, little quiet for normal.
And yet they won Olympic gold, you know, but in their own country.
Here, quiet. Whoa.
that's right, a chance to play at the Worlds in front of a home crowd to boot. Boot in a boot, the Canadians would say. Right of the nose, and Canada lies too. So shaping up like a force here in the second end.
Yep. Yep. Max ice. Yeah. Control.
There's good separation of stones there, isn't there?
There is. So David Murdoch will still be hopeful he can generate a deuce here by getting underneath that guard or rolling towards the stone in the back 8 foot, but
Weight's good.
Canada's pretty happy with their position right now.
Weight's good.
No roll, right on the nose for Drummond.
Yeah, no, I like rolling. Yeah. I love the roll, even half open here, Mark.
Let him take a rip
Let
at
him
the
take a
double.
rip at it, yeah.
Sure.
But
Okay.
fully buried's fine. I don't know where he goes. He probably goes to here.
You want to throw normal?
I like solid board now. I think
Yeah.
it's keen enough that I could take similar ice to you and get that extra bit of finish.
Okay.
Great discussion there between Gushu and Nichols about the weight to play. Looking for a little inside roll, and you heard
Board?
Brad say
Any board? I was thinking
solid
solid
board. That's
I was
just
good board last time. Yeah.
good
maybe a
board,
little
solid
harder, a
board.
little
They're
more, yeah.
talking about differences of
Similar ice to Mark.
centimeters really in the weight
Get that little bit
distance,
of
but
finish.
really locked in on their weight control.
Clean. That's good range. Just a hair less than you, Mark. Yep. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just a hair less than you. Whoa.
Waiting for this one to curl. It's tracking a bit. Want the inside roll, but pretty much on the nose. So a decision now for David Murdoch. Looks to me like wanting to play the freeze on that stone in the back 8 foot. They could also come around the corner.
Okay. Good weight there. Good weight. Solid board.
Looking at the back yellow there.
A little less than Mark.
Yeah, I just think my intern's probably tracking a little straighter. based on the last two. So.
I don't think that's terrible.
No, it's not. It's not bad.
After a bit of decision,
Here?
Murdoch does
Yeah.
seem to be electing to freeze
Probably
that
the
Canadian
weight.
stone in
I
the
want
back
to say
8
that's
foot.
almost max, but
I'd say it's max.
Here's
Here,
pretty
lads.
close, eh?
yeah.
I was back 4.
Yes, and
Going to be really,
93,
really
isn't it?
close to the
You were
same weight.
93.
Yeah.
It's
You're going to be
got a
really
front
close
end
to what you threw
discussing
that first end.
what they think the weight's going to be.
It's heavy as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
remember, you're going back.
Yeah, I
back
mean, I
4
wasn't
here.
bad. It was just, it was 15.
Yeah, but you're going back 4 here. So,
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Same weight.
Scott was a 93 out of his hand for his freeze, so.
Here, lads.
So precise.
They're
So
talking
precise.
about 93. They're talking about 2.93 seconds between the tee line and the hog line at release point.
Line's good. T-line.
Easy.
Still good.
And also
Not
factoring what the
curved yet.
sweepers can do.
T-line, room. All Scott. We got a pretty big line. All Scott, line's good. Keep her going, Scott. Keep her going. Hard, 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 hard. It's going to be right. Okay. Sorry.
Sweepers had to wait for that one to curl. They probably wanted to sweep that one a little bit earlier than they could. Line
But then
wasn't
the
quite
line,
there.
yeah, the line would have gone then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's gorgeous.
Frustrating, but
He's just here, slower in the middle.
That's definitely like when Scott threw that draw here.
Yeah,
That was.
We're in draw, but in park, that's there for fun.
Yes. It's like,
Love to stick in front of it, but where it's a new spot, I don't want to mess around too much.
And we heard Brad Gushu saying he'd love to squeeze it past the stone in the back to lie 3,
Come on, an inch more
set up a
still,
jam,
Mark. Yeah.
but he certainly doesn't want to over curl and stuff the Scottish stone onto his own.
Nice normal.
it's all normal.
Whoa.
Not quite peel.
Whoa.
Clean. In case it jumps.
Whoa. Whoa. Curl a bit. Okay.
Okay.
Cut.
Rolls a bit to the wing, but that's a safe play for Canada, and now it's a force situation, so
Curl big.
yeah, look at those 3 yellow Canadian counters.
David Murdoch will have to draw full 8 foot against 3 to save his point.
Anyway, same weight.
Yeah, I think we're.
Good news, it's pretty much the same shot he just threw.
Yeah.
It's a little less, is it?
That looks the same.
So definitely an end which has suited Canada more. Last stone of the second.
Same line.
Looks a hair more.
Oh, there's a little there, guys.
Not curl as much.
Carlin now.
Going now. It's in the same path.
Come on, come on, come on.
Sweepers
come on.
are a
Keep
bit
going, keep
concerned.
going,
They're
keep
working
going,
this
keep
one really
going,
hard.
keep
They've got to drag it full 8.
Hard, 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 hard.
They are comfortably there, but very well swept by Goodfellow and Anders.
It was, wasn't it? A slight element of panic. Very, very slight, but they secure the one against those 3 Canadian yellows, and that means
I thought
after
it was a
the
bit-
second end, it's Scotland 1, Canada 2.
Hello?
To the world's entertainment capital. Whether you're a storied veteran of events past or a future superfan anxious to attend your first, this is the one. The 2018 World Men's in Las Vegas with our most popular package, the 9-day, 10-night hit and stay for 2 people for just $20.29.
Las Vegas rocks.
Welcome back to our live coverage of the Forward World Men's Curling Championship 2017. This is our featured game between two of the top curling nations over the years, Scotland and Canada. Canada very much the favourites, unbeaten thus far in the round robin, and already with a 2-1 lead going into this third end, restricting Scotland in the second to just the 1 point. And now building for what they hope will be a big end in number 3. I'm Alison Walker, alongside me, Hans Brownlow, bringing you all the action here from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton in Canada. And we'll keep you updated with everything else that's happening around the arena. 3 other games going on. We'll give you updates and the latest on those games very shortly. And Hans, what do you make of the Canadians so far?
Well, so far it's absolutely textbook if you're Brad Gushu. You've won the hammer with the last stone draw. You converted a deuce for it in the first end. You've forced David Murdoch to a 1 in the second, so now you're playing the third end 1 up with the hammer. So everything is going exactly as you would have hoped at this point of the game for the Canadians.
And for Team Scotland?
Team Scotland, well, they know that they're trailing, but they're definitely in the game. We'll be looking to really generate a force back for the Canadians now. So they'll want to get the hammer back and in the fourth end. So they're going to try and force the Canadians to 1 here, and we can see the corner freeze attempt here by Goodfellow is an indication that's the plan. They'll give the Canadians 1, but only 1.
I like back 12. Okay. Same weight with this rock.
I can tell you that Sweden are leading Japan 2-1 as well. They're into the third end. And Norway are playing Russia. And the Netherlands are playing China.
Little late. Not bad though.
Yep.
Back 8.
Hard. Really got to go for the line.
You an update very shortly.
Hard. Guys.
Back 12.
Hard.
This one's really curling. Are they by the guard? Oh, they just squeaked the guard.
Stay on it. Go. Get it.
Maximum effort from the sweepers there. But you'd have to say that's an error.
And there are the updates for you. Sweden leading Japan, Russia up on Norway, and China ahead in the game against the Netherlands. Very early stages of all the games.
Still early in the week. 12 nations competing here. They're playing a full round robin, so each team will play 11 games. 4 teams will advance to the playoff phase next weekend. So even though it's early in the week, you don't want to let the field get away from you.
More psychological than anything else. Getting these wins just gives you that confidence and that belief.
You do. You do a bit of mental math at the beginning of a tournament, and then 11 game round robin, you're thinking, okay, if we're 8-3, we're in. If we're 7-4, we're borderline. We might have to play a tiebreaker, and if we're 6-5 or below, we're going to need a lot of breaks to have a look in at the playoffs. So net result there is teams are trying to stay away from 3 losses for as long as possible. And if you're already 2 in the loss column at this point, as the Scots are, you're very aware of that. So they're going to be doing all they can to get on the right side of the win-loss ledger today.
It doesn't really matter who you play.
Exactly right.
You've got to think win, avoid
Absolutely
the losses.
right. Over the course of an 11-game round robin, you're going to win 1 game that you didn't expect to, and you're going to lose 1 game that you expected to win. Then there's 9 others that could just happen on their merits.
That's the way of sport, though, isn't it? Unpredictable sometimes happens, which is why we love it, really.
That's why we love it. I was going to say the exact same thing, Alison. That's why we love it. So some stones accumulating here. Scotland's got those 2 lovely center guards, but Canadian stones in behind it. So now Scott Andrews is going to make a play in that
Back
direction.
it.
Try to wiggle them around a little bit.
Back it. Got room. Release.
Whoa. Push.
Whoa.
Yep.
Back it.
Yep.
You can see it coming round now.
Hard.
It's going to catch this top one.
Oh, that's a big, big mistake by the Scots. They
That broken lost all its weight.
Big groan in the Scotland camp.
sweepers were saying back 8 all the way back 8, and Dave Murdoch relies on that to make his line call. That
So
stone
who's
might have been T-line. Well, it's hard to say. Might have just hit a frost patch, but we can see Team Scotland conferring now.
Just run straight and then.
Well, especially when it like it's full team.
Yep, they're trying to just suss out what happened there. It's important after something like that catches them unawares that there's no blame going on, that you're just searching for the answer.
Yep, to avoid it happening again.
Exactly.
So Canada out to take advantage of that. And away we'll go.
Roll it, Jeff. Okay.
Two Reds, off they go. To a great applause from the crowd.
Brett Gallant with the lovely double takeout.
Just hack weight, just nose that.
You want to kill this one?
Yep, yeah, just nice hack.
Right in the nose.
Yep. What do you like? Hack.
So the shot is still on for Scotland. Greg Drummond is being asked to throw hack weight. He's going to just try to get to the nose of that one Canadian stone just in front of the 4 foot, and if he does, the Scottish stone will be frozen directly in front of it.
Weight's good. Nice hack.
Yep. Yep.
Nice hack.
Hard. Hard.
Keep going.
Is this stone also going to overcurl? Yes, it does. All over the front guard.
Two very damaging stones from a Scotland point of view.
Just under icing, or
There's a groan from the crowd as well there. Look at all those yellows.
Okay. What do you think? Draw there or draw?
It's an embarrassment of riches for Canada at this point.
I think there's better.
They've got the hammer. They're lying 4, and
Yeah.
now you're in one of those situations where
Should lie 2 or 3.
you can actually make
What
it worse,
about,
even though you're lying 4 by putting the
Well,
stone in a
again,
bad
the same
place.
sort of thing though. I'm worried if he gets it like there, it's well, we can still get it at the outer.
What
but
about
if he ever
drawing
gets to
around
there-
this corner red?
I know we're just making it a little harder. What's
Brad?
that?
What about drawing around the red corner?
I don't love it.
Didn't think Brad was sold on that.
You kind of got that impression there, didn't you?
I think Brad is saying the danger for us is that stone on the edge of the 4 foot, so I need to do something to make it a little bit more difficult.
I like.
I mean, they're in a great position.
We go here. I'm not scared of that. What do we do if we go here? Yeah, right beside the red.
But he's playing the hit and roll.
And then you have a 4 foot run back to line 6.
I think.
They're looking 3
I think
stones
somewhere
ahead.
on that line is good. Like if we're splitting center, it does
That was
take
my
it away.
first thought.
Okay, so Brad's saying
Right,
my
Brad?
first
Wait.
instinct was just to tuck
Top
a corner around the red one on the center line, top 8 foot, and that's what they've come back to.
Same speed here, boys.
He makes this, he changes the angles, makes it difficult for Scotland to use that red stone to promote. And he cuts off the path to the shot rock.
What about Jeff?
Go ahead.
Line's a hair tight.
Weight's pretty good.
No, we're good. Whoa. Line's fine.
Full 8.
Really nice weight.
Happy.
Whoa. Needs a curl.
Line's
Perfect.
good.
Whoa. Needs a curl.
Just nestling ours.
Full 8.
Just to ours. Just to ours. Just shy of ours now.
Go, Brett. Go.
Right like they drew it up.
Okay, pretty good.
That's the way to do it, isn't it?
Pretty good.
Very nice stone by Mark
Might be
Nichols.
able to get all of us.
Might be able to get like
Just
3 or
jumped it a bit on your mark, sorry.
It also brings the red into play.
So over to you, Scotland. It's kind of about damage limitation now, is it? As far
Totally.
as Scotland's concerned.
Totally. This is a situation where the game could get away from you right here in this end. So You're abandoning all thoughts of the force at this point, and you're thinking, how can I hold them to 2?
I think so. Like, I think it's close to getting 3.
The thing is, if you knot it right in front of the other 2 that are in the forefoot, I guess that's okay. If you have to get lucky.
See that, Greg? See that? We throw peel and what we can see. And get
What you
this
can see
going.
and try and- That gets rid of 3 though.
Yeah, well, I've got a big chunk of it.
So they're saying that you could throw it,
The only good thing about
hit a
playing off
quarter
the
of
line
the
when
stone
you're
that Mark
keeping your
Nichols
shirt
just
in
threw
the
and make a
Yeah.
triple takeout. Eliminate
the
3
only thing
Canadian
about
stones.
playing
Is he looking
this
at the
one
3 in
is,
the middle?
If we stick it, we have 2 in the ring.
He's looking at 2 in the middle and the 1 on the right-hand
right in
side in the
front
back
of
of
the
the
other 2.
forefoot.
With this one?
Yeah,
Ah, no. I think this is better.
I think
I
so.
think so. It's quite thin, isn't it?
It's really thin.
Like
You're
quarter.
Yeah.
Oh, max.
Okay, so they're going to play the stone right beside David Murdoch's brush. They just need to hit it really thin, careen it into the pile of yellow stones to the left of the brush. There'll be a lot of weight on this one. They might be able to remove as many as 4 Canadian stones, but the trick in this shot is the contact point. He can only hit a sliver of that top stone.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Let's see how many. 1, 2,
Okay, good.
3 gone.
3 gone. Much, much better for Team Scotland.
Yep.
Great shot from Greg Drummond.
Good outcome.
Hey, Greg. Cheers. Good, Greg.
So we're talking about damage control, and here's a bit of a damage control shot from Drummond. 1, 2, 3, 4 stones in motion. 3 of them go out of the rings. Scotland's not out of danger yet, however. The 3 is still very much on for Canada. Nichols will try to roll away from those 2 Canadian stones off to the wing somewhere. Must save his shooter, however.
Hard. Hard, Jeff. Gotta go hard, Jeff. Hard, Jeff. Really gotta go hard. Hard enough to jam it. Go, 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 go.
Come on.
Oh, an error there from Nichols. Jams on his own. Now
Big call
Scotland
from
is.
the crowd.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
Scotland's breathing a sigh of relief. That looks like, well, you'd measure it. Visually, it looks like it's off the rings, but
A little tight.
Do you assume it's in?
What do you think? We can either run
Yep.
or just play this.
next
Problem
question will be,
playing
are
that,
they
you
on?
need to get right behind it, otherwise he's playing the hit and flop. And I think that's a good chance to get out at the end with a blank.
Yeah, I mean, we make this. He's right.
And there's another look at it from the side angle, and
We got to make it.
phew,
Still looking
yeah,
out in
still
my
looks
eyes,
out.
Barrier.
Barrier up. Okay.
but how does that affect his thinking?
Well, it makes this the sensible play. If you think the front stone is off, then making the hit on the danger stone, which is the shot rock, is the sensible play.
Yep.
If it's a marginal call whether the front stone is on and you made a play on it and missed the double takeout, you're basically gifting Canada a 2 if you missed the double. So this is the smart play.
Wait's good.
Yep.
Here down.
Whoa, whoa, guys. Whoa.
Wait's good.
Whoa, never.
Wait's good.
Little outside roll for the Scots,
Yep,
but
yep, 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 yep.
it's actually not
Okay.
bad.
Okay.
Who knows?
All right.
What do we need to roll in?
Ice, maybe.
The thing about that stone at the top of the house, it's eminently splittable for Canada.
That was a decent throw.
I don't mind those. Yeah, I think those is fine. Okay. Little fresher out here, Brad.
Normal?
Yeah.
What a turnaround in this end.
Well, if it works out in Scotland's favour, it will be the great escape.
No doubt.
And we saw what they were looking at
Go crazy here.
a couple of shots ago.
That's good.
Yeah, 3 shots ago, you'd think Canada's going to score 4 here.
Fresh stuff, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the great shot from Greg Drummond. Bit of a half miss from Mark Nichols, and all of a sudden now, Brad Gushu
Normal. Whoa.
just looking to play a nose hit now and maybe get out of the end with a blank or
Yep. Whoa. Yeah.
a split attempt for a deuce.
Good.
Nose hit there from Gushu.
weight came down a little bit, I think.
They're looking at
That
the
was pretty
crosshouse
hard on
double.
my hand, I think.
Not quite sure why.
Yeah. It's probably the best option.
Unless you go right round.
No, I'm not liking that.
Okay.
This is, what, a third?
I think it's no more than a third anyway.
Oh, I mean,
Gee
some of
whiz,
these
they're
are
gonna
grabbing
play it.
others
Well,
haven't, so-
Mark through normal there and it kind of curled a bit.
Did they? Like this appeal?
Feel yeah.
Whew, brave call. He's going to try the crosshouse double takeout with peel weight. Obviously worried about leaving that stone there for Gushu to split
Into
on
the
for a
rock
pair.
and-
Yeah. I thought he was through the hole.
But
just gonna
boy,
hit
oh boy, it's a
the
high risk
frozen
shot
one,
for
just take
Scotland
the
too.
back one and roll.
Could hit the open stone, leave it in the 8-foot, and then force Canada to nose and stay and hope that the top one is off.
Yep. Hard. 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 Really hard. Hard. Really hard.
Hits it thick across the top, and it's an open draw for 2 for Canada. I have to say, Alison, I was not crazy about that call.
You weren't. You didn't sound optimistic.
So this is effectively a gift to the Canadians.
Not much.
Open draw, Brad Gushu just has to hit the paint.
Yeah, big size in the Scotland camp.
Well, I have to put that one in the self-inflicted wound category, I'm afraid. Last stone here for Brad Gushu.
Spots it.
Felt like it.
Maybe like back four. But it's a little tighter lines and
So this one to extend Canada's lead in this game against Scotland. And there'll be a big round of applause, I'm sure, when this reaches its destination. There we go. No problem at all for Brad Gushu. There we go. It's 4-1 now after 3 ends. Scotland 1, Canada 4.
Well, if you get to center, it curls, but if you're
So we're into the 4th end now of our featured game between Scotland and Canada. In this men's draw. And Canada 4-1 up. Still very early in the game.
Yeah, that third end was like a Hollywood miniseries all in 15 minutes. Scots went from a near-death experience to survival to an opportunity and then an interesting choice. And if you would have said mid-end to Scotland, well, boys, you're looking at 4 or 5. Would you like to drop 2 and walk off the ice? And they probably would have said yes, but in the end, they still dropped the 2 and they'll feel disappointed about what got away.
Just shows in this game how things can change so quickly.
That's absolutely right, Alison.
Even to the best teams in the world. A few inches here and there, margins again. But a 4-1 lead is still significant. Still quite a bit to make up. Here's the Canadian lead, playing well, 86%, Jeff Walker. And so Mike Goodfellow there, he's 93%. Which, if his play's being reviewed, will go down very well in the Scotland camp.
Yeah, hard to find fault with Mike's play in any match in this tournament so far. He's going really well.
Good rock, Jeff. Good boy.
So now Scotland down 3 with the hammer. And Dave Murdoch, I would say now it's going for maximum aggression. He knows he needs a pair here.
Top 12!
Gushu also knows that, so
He does. No secrets here.
it's all out there.
Top
It's
12!
all about the execution and maybe just relying on your opponent
Hard, line
to make a
kick.
slight error
Hard!
in placement.
Hard! Keep going. Good, mate. Good scrub. Right,
Good.
good end.
Very nicely played. So Gushu immediately
Big
says,
half.
okay.
Big half. 2/3 is probably as thick as we want.
Asking Brett Gallant to double clear the front stones. Trying to hit 2/3 on the outside of this red stone.
He's 88%, the Canadian second. Good stuff too.
So it's got a vapor trail behind it.
If there weren't stones in the way, that would still be heading our way, I think.
Yep, might still be going. So repositions the stones on the sheet, but Gallant's disappointed. He knows he needed to hit a little bit less of that top rock to
How far off the way I gave you last time?
get rid of the guards, which was what he really wanted to do, and he's left Scotland 2 red stones in play. So good news for Team Murdoch. Chance now to go around the corner guard.
Scott's playing well too, 88%.
Yep, for line.
As we mentioned, we saw this is Scotland's second game of the day earlier today. They had a very entertaining match against China. Unfortunately for the Scots, the Chinese won that game, but the Scottish front end in that game were magnificent. Both Mike and Scott playing in the high 90s, but they were being matched shot for shot by their Chinese counterparts, Zhang Xiaolang and
just pipped
Ba
in the
Jin,
end.
and just pipped in the end.
The final end.
A little bit quiet. Whoa, a little quiet.
The missed opportunity of the come around
Heavy
for
hack.
Scotland. And
Whoa, anything, Mark?
Canada
good shot.
capitalizes and removes the Scottish shot rock. Our commentary colleague Ann Swisshelm pointed out that in the scheduling of this event, and as we said, 12 teams are playing in the competition, but there are 4 sheets of ice available, which means 8 teams are playing and
Wade's
4
good.
aren't. And for
Okay,
Team
next time.
Scotland,
Solid.
this is the 4th consecutive draw
Well,
that they've played a
solid.
match. They played the afternoon game and the evening game yesterday, and they played the morning game this morning and the afternoon game today. And it just seems to me that they're, I wouldn't say missing spark, but
Good. Nice shot.
it's hard yakka playing 4 in a row. And especially when you fall behind
That's the
early as
same
they
weight as
have.
Brett, solid hack.
I wouldn't say that they're flat, but they're just looking for a spark. They'll need one shot to energize them and lift them, I think, also.
Yeah, round robin is a bit of a marathon anyway, but it's tough out there. I mean, these guys are fit, we know that.
Not bad.
Psychologically
Yeah,
as well as
yeah.
physically, you need to be
And it is,
right up there.
and it is the psychological challenge of playing 4 games consecutively. As you say, they're incredibly fit physically, but
Good shot.
it's a mental grind out there where you're having to be so intense game after game after game after game, literally.
I guess when they see the draw, where they play and when,
That's true too.
they possibly do the preparations around that
They
and
would.
gear themselves accordingly.
They would, and Team Scotland, I'm sure, and Coach Tetley and the entourage supporting them would have been looking at the draw and say, yep, we are going to have 4 in a row, so get your rest, be prepared as best you can. But they would have known that the last of those 4 consecutive games would be a really tough one against Team Canada, so you can prepare yourself for the situation, but then you have to actually live the situation.
Yeah, it's not just on paper, is it?
That's
It's
absolutely
about
right.
living in the real world. Yeah, maybe they would have liked to have had the Canada game maybe second up or something.
Yes, unfortunately, you can't choose your draw. You get what you get.
Weight was good. Weight was here from Hans.
Scotland is looking for answers, and they're getting more questions than answers right now. Just not sharp here in this middle phase of the game. And in some danger here. Center guards, and with 1 Canadian stone already in the top 12 foot here, a golden opportunity for Mark Nichols to zip one around the pile, and if he does, David Murdoch is going to have some challenges scoring.
He knew it was going to be difficult against this team, and he loves a challenge, that's for sure.
Well, he certainly got one this afternoon.
Mark Nichols, 90%, third player for Canada and vice skip.
Line's fine.
Weight's good.
Top 4. Line's good. Full 4. Line's good, boys.
They know this one will go hard at the end,
Fight the floor.
so even though they're well by the guard, they're looking for top 4 foot weight. Just left that one a little long, I think.
It's good.
It's okay, not fully buried, but you would just have to say just okay. Canada line 2. Scotland with the last rock here on end number 4. And there we see a look at it from the hack end. There'd be about a little less than a quarter of the rock available.
Yeah, not much.
So it'll definitely be down weight, quiet weight on this stone. Greg
Back
Drummond.
8. Back 8. Back 4. Back 4. Back 4. Just back 4.
So it's a little bit light and it's a little bit wide, so the sweepers can't sweep it. They want to bump this stone, but they have to wait for the curl. Here it comes now.
James, I didn't think he was going to squeeze past that guard there.
Yeah, really fooled them, I think, again.
Carried it. Good. Coming down in the end, eh? Big time.
So now it's old school curling for Team Canada. You got your stone in the top 4 foot. There's a bunch of guards in front of it, so just guard yourself out.
Not enough to miss it like that.
Where do we want to be here?
I like there because you might play something like a board waiter. Then it's
yeah, I was
gone.
thinking of getting under, but I guess there's a fine line between over curling. Okay,
I'd much prefer to see him
right here.
try this.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I think
Just
we almost
past
got to go
half?
out to the edge, Mark.
Okay.
Yep. Don't need to overthink this one.
We're going half or a little higher?
I don't think higher than half.
Half? Even with the red?
Yeah,
Maybe a little higher than
higher
that.
than that.
You want to touch center, do you? Or not quite.
Yeah, that.
A little less.
4 feet slower than the path you threw your draw down, I think.
Okay.
What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You think that'll get there, guys?
I think it
so.
will. Yeah. For halfway, eh?
They are going very wide on the sheet, so they're just checking their best guess, and it will be a best guess around what the actual draw weight is. They are throwing a guard, 91% for Brad Gushu. That is top shooting for the
It
skip
is, isn't
position.
it?
He'll halfway
He's
to me.
barely put a stone wrong
Weight's good. Half.
in
Like
this
to see
game.
it curl a little.
Just
No,
shy of
line's
half.
good.
Doesn't need to curl. Stay
Line's
down, Jeff.
good.
Stay down,
Higher than half.
Stay down, Jeff. Yep.
Higher than that.
Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa.
We're high.
Whoa, whoa.
Okay.
Good.
It's funny, like,
Guard made. They would have liked it maybe another foot forward, but it's more important about the line. There's Coach Ian Tetley of Scotland.
He is a Canadian.
3-time world champion.
See that? You try like a...
With 3 legends of the game.
Working for Scotland now. All eyes on Scotland and how he can help them engineer as many wins this week as they can, because vital Olympic qualifying points are at stake
And you'll
here.
have another in the rings.
Never mind the world title.
You don't know if it's there or not. You're thinking... Yeah, but then you end up guarding. No, that's good.
I like the thought that Mike Goodfellow was looking at. He's saying, why don't we tap those 2 corner guards? Here's Coach Tetley. He's just watching until if his team calls timeout, he can come down and give them advice, but for now he just has to watch.
These guys are experienced enough to know
Okay.
what to do here.
So after some discussion, it's draw the back of the button for David Murdoch.
I do.
Scotland with the hammer here on the 4th, but facing
Today was a
a
9-4.
well-buried
Just going
Canadian
by.
stone.
Everything's coming up short now, so...
Yeah. Give me a little, Greg.
Hearing some comments from the players about everything's coming up short, so the ice might be tightening up a little bit. There has been a bit of a challenge with frost occasionally this week. David at 80% for the tournament.
Okay, line looks good.
Especially more so down this side, I think.
The wider you go, the more that becomes a factor.
Got room.
And this one's got a curl.
No, still in the guard. Still in the guard. Still in the guard.
So wide that it's actually tracking straight and barely past the outside guards.
Hard for the side of the button. It's getting there, it's getting there.
Wow.
Goodness me. I didn't think it was going to finish there.
That one very nearly wrecked the outside guards. Comes to rest biting a piece of the forefoot.
You almost got it all.
Let me have a look. I think there with just board.
Certainly accessible for Team Canada.
Brad, you gonna throw like good
Maybe going
board,
down a
throw
similar
it up,
line.
take
I'm
a
not sure we're
board.
going to have much of a shot in a minute.
No, it's not terrible. No, it's not.
It'll be a down weight, it'll be a board weight. Gushu can hit 3/4 on the inside and flop to the front of the forefoot. How does David Murdoch get to the button?
Well, that's a question I'm going to ask you.
Well, I would answer at this point that he'd probably need a crane, but probably not
I don't
available
think
to
that,
him.
no, that's not an option. Let's see what happens after this. Comes to rest.
Heavy board right now. Hair heavy.
Whoa. Whoa.
Close.
No.
Board weight now.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
This is looking quite good, I think.
Close. Looking for the inside roll. Oh, that is perfect from Gushu.
So precise, so accurate. And great skill shown there from the Canadian skip. No wonder he's smiling.
Well, he knows how good that shot was, and he also knows that he's given David Murdoch virtually no chance to draw. We saw how close Murdoch came to the guard on the intern side, trying to draw the edge of the forefoot.
I guess you could draw there.
That's what they're talking
It
about.
just needs to be full, but still tough.
It is tough.
Yeah, that's our easiest shot.
Poor.
You've got to be on the guards again for a long time, Greg.
Yeah.
That's
where
what
was
David
your
is
last
exactly
one
what
was
he's
there,
thinking
right?
about.
Perfect.
That's the line.
Same.
Has to
Well, you-
almost throw it just past the tee line, but
Well,
to do
you want
that,
as much as this, Dave.
he's going to
You
have
out
to
here and going
shave
for the
those
last
guards to the right-hand side of our picture. It'll come in almost sideways as it comes to rest.
I
Just
think
throwing to a spot.
you know how we were talking about the Great Escape before? I think if this was successful, this really would be the Great Escape. Very, very difficult shot for the Scotland skip.
He has one spot that he can throw to on the tee line, just past the tee line, back of the forefoot. And to do that, he's going to have to graze those 2 guards to the right of our screen and have absolutely dead perfect weight.
So, last stone of the 4th.
Line's good. A little tighter than last.
Much tighter.
Line's good. Yep. Go around. Line's good.
Whoa.
Got a touch of room. Don't lose it. Line's good. Yep.
Line only.
Room.
Oh, the line's great. How's the weight?
Is it going to stop in time? It was such a good effort. Not far away at all. Such a difficult shot, but steal of 2 for Canada. And is that a significant end in terms of this game? 6-1 the lead now for Canada. So close for Scotland.
In the universe that is distinctively curling, the stars have now aligned to deliver the world's ultimate showdown to the world's entertainment capital. Whether you're a storied veteran of events past or a future superfan anxious to attend your first, this is the one. The 2018 World Men's in Las Vegas with our most popular package, the 9-day, 10-night hit and stay for 2 people for just $20.29.
Las Vegas rocks.
And look at those numbers there. It all adds up to a 6-1 lead for Canada over Scotland. This is our feature game in the round robin. Scotland against Canada. Alison Walker and Hans Frownlow bringing you the game live from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton in Canada. And a 6-1 lead. Is that a reflection, Hans, on how good Canada have been?
Well, I would say that Canada's made the most of the opportunities that Scotland have given them, and Scotland perhaps hasn't made the most of the very few opportunities that the Canadians have given them. So the scoreboard, I think, is reflective of the contest, and it's a long road back now for Team Scotland. But at this point now, when you're 5 down, you have to kind of break the rest of the match up into short goals, and the goal for Team Scotland now to get to the 5th end break will be, well, let's get our pair, regroup, 5 ends to play, and then we're going to have to attack in the second half of the game. But you can't look ahead to the 10th end now. Now you just have to take it one short step at a time, and the next step for Team Scotland will be to right the ship and get a deuce here.
And there's still time, there's still enough ends. It's just the psychological impact of that 5-shot deficit.
Back 4.
Well, that's true. There is time to come back, but they also know that this Canadian team are very skilled at defending a lead. So they know that to fight back, they're going to have to be absolutely perfect. Let's look at some of the other scores in our matches today.
Yeah, there's a big lead for China after that great win earlier on today, 6-2 over the Netherlands. On sheet B, it's 2-1 Norway over Russia. Japan and Sweden are close, Sweden leading 3-2. And this is the game on sheet D with the biggest margin at the moment in this 5th end. So some tight games out there.
We're getting level, getting level. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Coming back to those update scores, say keep your eyes on China.
I think
They lost their first 2 games, but they've won 2 games in a row, the morning game in most impressive fashion against Scotland. And
I know you were very impressed with them and the way they played
really,
earlier on.
Really well. So if they can maintain that standard of play, watch out for them at the end of the week.
Whoa.
Is that your outside tip?
Well, you know, if you handicap the field, you'd say, okay, is China going to make the playoffs? No, you wouldn't say that would be one of the favorites, but even though it's early in the tournament, the way this is stacking up with win-loss records, 3-2 after this draw, you'll be right in the thick of it.
And if that springs in behind, probably quite good.
Yep, sore one for Scotland in that fourth end of our featured game. Just need to be patient, try and build, get a couple back here.
Back four. T-line.
And make Canada work a bit harder for their win, if they were to win.
Good.
Slightly over curls on the freeze attempt.
Yeah.
And this is the challenge when you're trying to generate some offense. It does force you into playing shots that you might not ordinarily play, but you really don't have a choice. This is what you have to do when you're trying to generate offense. The Canadians, on the other hand, will be quite content to eliminate guards as soon as they have the chance.
Really hard.
Just need to keep things simple.
Guys.
Not quite the peel they were hoping for, but move it far enough off to the wing where it's really not going to be a danger. But Dave Murdoch taking a look at it anyway, say, can I use that?
Here, slow down here, Scotty.
He's decided that he can. So it's the widest of corner guards, but Murdoch will try to put a Scottish stone in around the corner behind it. Scott Andrews.
Line's good. Line's good, guys. Come on. Hard.
Have to watch the momentum of this stone as it gets towards the wing. It'll move more into the frost and maybe lose some momentum. And Sweeper's backing off it now, and look how much that curls and dies as it hits the frost.
It did, didn't it?
It's coming back in the pile. I think we throw maybe a normal. Just try and touch that a bit to unlock those. Just poke that to there.
Okay.
Thinking?
Trying to stick around.
3/4, 2/3.
I think the rest of the team would be quite happy just to blast everything in sight, but Brad Gushu is thinking about how to save the stone.
Normal weight.
Yeah.
Clean.
It's good.
Normal. Whoa.
Close. Good jump here.
Probably not with that kind of weight.
I think we're rolling out.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Good shot, Mark.
Canada lies 3.
You guys touched it.
That?
He's quite happy with that one.
Move that.
Yeah.
I think it's going by Scots.
If not even a 90, Greg. Yeah.
Yep, 90-95.
Important for Scotland to keep focused, keep the belief.
Heard the Sweepers telling Greg 90-95. That's the split times, and that does tell me that the ice is tightening up. Not carrying quite as far on the draw as in earlier games.
Squeeze close. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yep.
It makes a difference sometimes on this outside sheet as well, doesn't it, Hans?
Absolutely right, Alison.
Hard line. Hard.
Dead freeze.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay.
Once again, the stone slightly over curling. And when you throw the rock as hard and accurate as Mark Nichols, anything less than a perfect freeze represents an opportunity to just blast them away.
He's 30 years old, he's a personal trainer. So he's one of the fittest guys around.
Yep. Whoa. Yep. 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 Hard.
Bang.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Mark is so used to making triple takeouts, he's removing his own stones now.
Here more.
One left, right on the button.
think this was going nice here. So
Yeah. Yeah, but
Small opportunity now for Scotland. That stone of Scott Anders that come up short has actually created a much better corner guard opportunity for Scotland. Greg Drummond will still have to hit just a piece of the 12-foot to get behind those guards. But a glimmer of an opportunity for a deuce here for the Scots.
line's good.
line's good. Wait's close.
Line's good.
T-line. Yeah, T-line.
Let's try and take these opportunities as we get back into this game.
All Scott.
6-1 down.
Oh.
Where is this going to finish?
Yep.
Yep. Really nice, good.
Good. Please.
It's a pretty good stone there from Drummond.
Okay, shoot, man. Good weight.
Try and bump it out.
Okay, we heard we'll try and bump it out. So even though that stone is nearly buried,
This is pretty nice speed,
Scott,
like 14 seconds.
He might have been a bit
Good.
soft with the one out of
Just
hand,
thinking
but
you're starting a little-
what do you think? Okay, I think it was going huge.
yeah.
It's like that's not a lot different from what I've just thrown there.
What they're talking about is Scott Andrews' attempted come around, how much it curled relative to Greg's.
Really there when you see them.
Yeah.
Talking
I think
about
you want
the
to throw
release.
probably close to hack, though. Okay.
Well, you'd much rather be in his position now than in the Scotland team.
Well, that's exactly right. Brad Gushu is going to throw about hack weight. Just try to push the Scottish stone out of the rings to lie to.
It's good.
Yep. Hack. Whoa. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Lead.
Go.
Yep. Lead. Yep.
Yep.
Lead.
Only bad result for Team Canada would be to clip the guard.
Hard.
Oh, they nearly left it too long, but job done for Brad Gushu.
Great weight. Hack with your hand. Shot came down nice.
Good execution all around there from Brad Gushu. Threw it exactly the weight he wanted to throw.
Let's just see how close it was. Not really.
Miles of room.
It probably gives us.
More rethinking for
Is
Scotland.
he going to throw the guard? Probably not.
Dead
It's gonna
freeze,
spill
they
everything.
peel, we blank. Move on.
Are we top backs, Scotty?
Yeah, maybe.
Are we
get a
bumping
blank
that?
if we-
Yeah. Who's that?
Okay.
It's not like we bump around the corner. No?
Canada just dealing with absolutely everything that Scotland throws at them.
Front end players were wondering
See
about a
that,
play
we
around the
bump
corner.
on the other one.
You play the bump in the other one.
Yep.
He's just going to throw top 8, and then
We've got a double for two.
Might be a double. That's
nearly
It's our best
impossible
chance for two. Playing this, we're not getting two.
No, this is for blank.
Good.
Just not.
But we're
that
5
great.
down.
You want to just try and freeze that in the knuckle? Yeah. Then maybe get a skinny double.
Get. Get away. Hack, back line.
Oh, no. Just like, don't need to move it far.
Okay, well, if you're on there,
Yeah.
it's got to be at least a foot and a bit.
Okay.
Greg was a 90 for his draw. So you're looking 8
Crowd engrossed in this game, and largely Canadian crowd must be very pleased with the way their team is performing.
Making things very difficult for
Back
David
four.
Murdoch the
Back
entire
eight.
game.
Right through the lines.
Need something.
Need something.
Scotland chasing
Through the
almost
lines.
from the very start.
Yeah. That's a situation where betwixt and between, I think David Murdoch originally wanted to make the play to the one in the center. Got talked into making the play to the one around the wings. Knew he had to move it, so he upped his weight a little bit.
That just sums up the way things have been going for Scotland.
It does, I'm afraid.
That's the same ice as 2 ends ago.
Yeah. That went right to the button, didn't it?
We overcurled a little. It was.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're coming
'Kay.
4 or 5 feet shorter.
Okay.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
Shows you the attention to detail of this
we going,
Canadian
full
team.
ball?
They're up 5.
You can nibble
They're
the
in a
8 foot, but
situation
that's
now
as
where
deep
the
as we
best
can.
that the Scots can do is scoring 1, and they're still talking about stones that were
2 ends
thrown
ago.
2 ends ago
Yeah.
just to get the
Same speed as
exact
him.
line locked in for this guard
No
attempt.
less. If anything, it's just a hero stick
They're
forward.
probably looking ahead
We
to the
haven't
next
played
end
much.
now, aren't they?
I went
And
to the top of the button then.
any
So,
lines
yeah.
or any
a couple feet less.
Well,
than
they
that.
realize that if they get this guard in the right place, they steal this end, and they would thoroughly demoralize Team Scotland and
A little bit for
pretty
line,
much
Jet.
put the game away. And
Yeah, it's like turning the screw, isn't it?
absolutely
Line's
right.
good.
And the good teams do that. The great teams execute on
We're a
it.
little heavy, actually.
Roll then.
Yeah, it's not
No, weight's
curling.
good.
Red's in.
No, line's good. Line's good. Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
Whoa, whoa. Perfect.
Squarely in front of the shot rock, so, and in a place where if David Murdoch throws the double takeout, there's still going to be a skill. And some
There's the
Scottish
boys.
fans there, good-looking young men.
They are. And I'm sure they've glanced at their pictures there. Plenty of support for Scotland here. Just hasn't quite been their day.
Stone and a half.
Probably just there.
Yeah.
Be a bit disconcerting to look up into the crowd and see a bunch of big cardboard cut-ups of yourself, but that's the last thing on David Murdoch's mind right now. He knows he can't make the double on the front stone, so he is going to have to squeak by the stone that Brad Gushu just threw with back button, back 4-foot weight. Just nudge the stone off the button just to score one.
Dead back 4.
Dead back 4, that's the weight.
And not a huge amount of reward for such a difficult shot.
Yeah, even if you make it awesome, you score one. And he will have to be awesome to make this shot. This is a very difficult stone for David Murdoch.
Final stone of this
Line's good.
fifth
Wait,
end.
close. Clean.
Wait, really close.
Scotland on the back foot.
Line only.
Yep. Yep. Line
Whoa,
only.
whoa.
Whoa. Just for weight. Back 4. Back button.
Yep.
Hard.
How's
Sweepers
it
like
looking?
the weight.
How's it looking?
They have to push that Canadian stone, but it's losing momentum. I don't think it's going to push it far enough. No, it doesn't, and it's a steal.
Another steal for Canada. And another nail in the coffin of Scotland. It's been such a struggle against this impressive Canadian team here. It really has. They go into the break well in control, well ahead. 7-1 up on Scotland now at the end of the fifth. Chance to regroup for both teams, and a lot for Scotland to think about.
Highlights of our feature match, Scotland versus Canada. First end of play for Canada's Brad Gushu. An opportunity here to get off to a fantastic start. Down weight, delicate hit for two. Maybe overswept it and pushed it. But they get away with it, and they open their account with a deuce in the first.
Almost got you.
And number 4. Scotland's David Murdoch, after some fantastic stones from Brad Gushu, facing a near impossible draw. He has to draw just past the tee line, throwing it to a spot. But he is fractionally heavy. Mark Nichols sweeps it back, and it's a big steal of 2 to Canada in the 4th end. Then in the 5th, again, great rock placement by Team Canada and a very difficult stone yet again for David Murdoch. Feels like he's been looking at these all afternoon. Valiant attempt, but it's another steal of 1 for Canada. At the midway point of the game, the Canadians with a decided advantage in this contest.
And there's the stats after the first 5 ends. We know the 7-1 lead. It's those stolen points. Look at that on your right-hand side. And all those numbers way up from a Canadian point of view. They really have barely put a stone wrong here in this game and forced Murdoch and Team Scotland into those near impossible final shots. And Canada looking good for the win here in our feature game.
Yes, that 90% shooting percentage for Team Canada is mighty impressive. They got off to a great start with that deuce in the first and the force in the second, and then a deuce back in the third. So they got control early and forced Scotland to play higher risk shots and got their own stones into great places, Alison. So it's been a real challenge for Team Scotland, but Team Canada looking very strong today. And
I wonder what the chat would have been in the Scotland camp at the interval there, as they had a quick bite to eat. This is a hard second part for them.
Yeah, well, it very much is. You're trying to keep your chin up, and you know in your heart of hearts that winning this game is unlikely. So you're not going to concede defeat by any means. You've got the hammer here in the 6th, so the first step is to try and get your deuce here in the 6th. But even if Scotland doesn't achieve victory today, what they are going to want to do is come out in the second half and treat it like a new game and try to win from here.
Yeah, and feel they've performed.
That's right.
And so they can take it into their next game. But this will be a sore one. And if the margin of victory is wide, that has a bit of a psychological impact as well.
It certainly can. But athletes need to have short memories. I didn't coin that cliche, but it's absolutely true. Whether your last shot was the best one you've ever thrown or whether the last shot was the worst one you've ever thrown, in either case, you have to kind of move on to the next one.
Well, I remember a quote from Rachel Homan last week. We were doing an interview with her, and she said, the good thing is I have a really bad memory, but I have a good memory for good shots.
And a selective memory.
Yeah, well, and she said, you know, I'm known for my poor memory, and I don't dwell on bad shots, but I do remember the good ones. And I thought, well, that's interesting.
Well, you definitely want to you want to remember what you did well, absolutely, and use it to positively reinforce. But you're only as good as your next shot. And I guess that's the point of that cliche, is really you can't do anything about the ones that have already gone.
And you know, she also played so well in the Worlds a couple of weeks ago that there weren't many bad shots to remember if she could remember them anyway. She played
a lot of good memories from Beijing for Rachel Homan, no doubt.
She was exceptional. And this team, this Canadian men's team, looking very good indeed as well. And definitely the team to beat here, without question.
Yes, as we mentioned, it's been a long time coming to get to a World Championships for Brad Gushu. And now that they're finally here, they definitely want to make the most of it.
Got it.
Oh, and he clips the other one as a bonus, so everything's going Canada's way in this one so far.
And how often does that happen, that you are
playing
well, it's going well, scoreboard's looking your way, and even the You get the lucky ones on the ice too.
Two and a half, three.
See that Scott Andrews is struggling a wee bit in this game at 68% relative to the other matches.
And he started well too, just that dip in the middle.
Yeah, it seems to me that Scotland has really been getting fooled on the draws today. They've been misjudging weight. It's been fooling them. Consistently over curling, consistently coming up short. That'll be something that they look at tonight and think about.
Every shot analysed by the all on video. We'll be able to look back, analyse, see what they could do better, differently. Because although it's a 7-1 deficit, it's been very small margins. An inch here, an inch there.
That's right. The Canadians have been forcing the Scots into some very, very high-risk shots and low error tolerance shots. And when you do that enough, eventually your opponent, no matter how good they are, is going to fractionally miss. And that's all that it takes, really, just a fractional miss.
It's about the same spot, just shorter than it. Good.
So for Team Gushu,
I just went, lost his handle a bit.
looking at it from the Canadian perspective,
Probably not much for you.
this is a bit of a test for them as well. You're in a game against a team that you know is a good, strong, tough team. And you don't want to let them back in the game at all. So you need to keep your concentration. You need to make your appeals. You need to execute well. And so keeping the mental intensity up for Team Canada is going to be their test for the rest of this game. It can be really easy and tempting to get distracted when you've got a 6-point lead and you think, okay, we'll just cruise home from here and
switch off.
Yep.
Become complacent.
Dave was throwing an 85.
How much?
85.
85.
But this Gushu team is experienced enough that that seems unlikely.
And they've won by some decent margins here already.
This has been tracking a ton, so.
They have been very strong. They've
Well, the way out here is, I guess.
played well.
Yeah.
It won't be far away if it's something good to
Had
like.
a terrific run at the Canadian Championships against incredibly tough competition.
I think it'll be a 90 to get
Won the Canadian Championship in the most dramatic manner imaginable in their home province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And they've carried that momentum here to Edmonton.
Scotland just have to keep on plugging away here.
All Mike. Lionel, get there. All Mike.
Back 8.
All Mike. Back 8.
We have mentioned the 2018
Hard, Mike.
Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. And
Hard, Mike.
One of you. One of you.
Oh, sorry.
Brad Gushu pointing out that there's only one sweeper allowed behind the tee line, and
I don't know
Scotland
if you can call Dave
momentum.
sweeping.
Wear yourself out.
Good sportsmanship there. So Brad Gushu
12 anyway.
good-naturedly pointing out that the Scots were breaking the rules there by having two players sweeping behind the tee line.
Yep.
Yeah, momentary lapse there. 93% from Mark Nichols.
And these kinds of shots are Mark's bread and butter.
Hard, Jeff.
Big weight.
Might as well leave it.
Actually sticks around. That's about probably half miss, you'd have to call it, for Nichols.
Probably okay.
The World Championship is also a qualifier for the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics.
Probably here, Greg.
7 nations will directly qualify for the 10-nation Olympic curling field. Host nation Korea, of course, gets a direct entry, and then 2 further places come from the Olympic qualifying event to be held in December. And for Team GB, you're pretty much right on the bubble right now as far as direct qualification goes. They came into this event ranked 7th in overall Olympic points. And
they are on the cusp.
They are on the cusp.
So a need win number here is essential. And interestingly, a team that isn't here, Denmark, are still in with a chance from their performance at last year's Worlds, because that counts too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the 2 World Championships leading up to Olympics, and last year Denmark were the silver medalists, but this year failed to qualify through the European Curling Championships. Newcomers Denmark here.
that they have those points in the bag.
Those points are in the bag.
So they could come into play too. So
absolutely.
That's good. Yeah, I like that, bro.
As we get towards the business end of this week, come Wednesday and Thursday, we'll give you more and more updates as it becomes clearer. But teams like Switzerland, Great Britain in the Olympic context, Denmark, as Allison mentioned,
Roll it, Brett.
will all be on the cusp of that bubble of team number 7 to directly qualify. I mentioned China earlier. China's come into this competition with 0 qualifying points from last year, but were the Chinese able to make the podium here, who knows?
And that's another team coming into play.
They could displace Denmark.
Vying for those positions.
Probably get it through.
I think this is
Team Japan, who finished 4th last year.
Those were second shots,
Got to be
Scott.
second though. Like,
They would have been feeling reasonably secure, but you know,
guess.
it's never done till it's done. And
You know, and I remember Eve Murdoch saying
I
last
like a
week
little more.
for Scotland stroke GB, you know, first things first,
absolutely
we
right.
get GB into the Olympics.
Yes.
And they did.
Yes.
And
I
then
think we're in
finished well with a bronze medal.
Going through
And that is the big prize, being there.
boys.
Absolutely, it is the
90, I'd say, 95.
goal
yeah.
that all
Yeah,
competitive
just a hair
curlers
off
chase
this.
nowadays, to represent their nation at the Winter Olympics.
And these guys have done it. These
certainly
this
have.
Scotland team, Olympic silver medalists, but this looks like a game they'll want to forget. 60% for Dave Murdoch, but to be fair, he has been faced with some, as you called them, Hans, near impossible final shots.
Yeah, Dave's been throwing 2 and 3%ers the whole game.
Room for this one.
Weight's good. Weight's really good.
Weight's really nice.
So I think that stat is quite hard on him.
It
Small,
is.
but not at nose yet.
Okay. Oh, good. How'd you get on the clock for that?
Did enough to lie shot there.
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
Same sort of thing, though. We can do that.
We know that folks
Half a rock.
are watching this game in Scotland today because one of my friends in Scotland pointed out earlier in the game when we were debating whether the stone was in the rings or not, he said, oh, he was in the rings all the way. So I just know I have to consult my curling world friends to let me know who's shot in this situation.
Yeah, we absolutely welcome your feedback, folks, wherever you are.
There is a gap for Brad Gushu to steer this Scottish rock through. Hits 3/4 on the brush side.
He must be feeling pretty good at the moment, Brad Gushu. Everything
Yeah.
has gone to plan.
His team is playing really well. He's playing well. They're feeling comfortable with the ice conditions. They're obviously here at home in their home nation of Canada. So,
Although it's
so
still a
far,
long way
so
from
good.
home.
Well, for them, yes. It's quite a long flight from St. John's, Newfoundland to Edmonton, Alberta.
As I was saying to me, they're closer to Ireland than they are to Edmonton. In fact, closer to Scotland.
Indeed. Gushu removes the Scottish stone. Jams on his own at the back, but he won't be worried about that. So final stone to come here for David Murdoch, and at this point, you just wanted score. You can hear the crowd actually.
Yeah, they're urging him on here,
Yeah.
trying to give him some support. He is hugely popular. He was signing autographs last night after the game.
China's heating up.
Give us a shout for line.
Yeah.
I think it might be over after this one.
Well, you know, you score and you're down 5. You're down 5, 4 to play, and it will be an interesting decision. They might have talked about that at the 5th end break.
Yeah.
As I said, they've played 4 draws in a row. You might say this is almost a hopeless task to try and recover. Maybe the best thing to do is just call it a day and get some rest, but we'll see. On the other hand, you don't want to give up on a game with 4 ends left in it.
No, no, and they are very competitive, these guys. Let's see where this finishes. How's this looking? And he's got that one as backing.
Nice stone
There
there
we
from
go.
David Murdoch.
Good finish for them in this end. They pick up a single shot, not making much of an impact into that deficit, but still scoring. And there we go. After end 6, Scotland 2, Canada 7.
In the universe that is distinctively curling, the stars have now aligned to deliver the world's ultimate showdown to the world's entertainment capital. Whether you're a storied veteran of events past or a future superfan anxious to attend your first, this is the one. The 2018 World Men's in Las Vegas with our most popular package, the 9-day, 10-night hit and stay for 2 people for just $20.29.
Las Vegas rocks.
You're watching live coverage from the Ford World Men's Curling Championship 2017 inside the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton in Canada. And this is our featured game between Scotland and Canada. And it's all really been about this man and his Canadian team. Another very impressive performance. 7-2 ahead in end number 7 now.
Here's another practice opportunity really for the Canadians. They get an opportunity to try a tick shot. Just trying to reposition this guard off the center line. It's a shot you usually see in the 9th and 10th end of games, but there's such a large lead here in the 7th. The Canadians playing the tick, and Jeff Walker has made it absolutely perfectly.
Remember, it's not allowed to go out of play, and that one hasn't hit the side. Just clearing the pathway.
That is a mighty impressive stone. He pushed that Scottish stone within
couldn't push it any
inches
further.
of the barrier.
You know, it's not as easy as it looks.
Quite surprised Dave Murdoch wasn't trying to sweep that one into the barrier. He was just watching it, but a bit frosty out there, so David almost certainly knew that was just well played, Jeff.
He's good. Yeah. He's good. Good, Mike. Good.
Weight's good. Yeah. Same weight.
Whoa.
Here more.
Whoa.
Same again.
Whoa.
Trying the tick.
Whoa.
Players think there's a bit more weight on this one, though, so they're being a bit cautious with this one. Murdoch will stay around to try and sweep, but again,
Leave it.
nice execution from Team Canada.
Shot, Jeff.
Yep, 2 good shots indeed for Jeff Walker.
Away.
And coming to rest in a decent position as well.
Fine job there by the Canadian lead.
You can make these shots in practice, but making them in a game as well, a game situation.
Well,
Halfway.
in particular, a world championship, in particular in a world championship against an Olympic medalist. Very nicely played.
Yep. Okay. It's good.
Make that jump. He's lost his handle a couple of times.
Free guard zone part of the end is now over, so no ticks here from Brett Gallant. This will be a missile.
This is heading our way, Hans.
I got it. Foam barrier taking a bit of a pounding.
Ran real straight.
Scott Andrews doing everything he can at the front end position for the Scots. Without the hammer, Scotland looking for guards, doing whatever they can to generate a steal. Change the momentum in this match.
That's the same line as the 3.
I think that's going where they thought it would.
Yeah.
I think the ice has definitely got the better of Scotland today.
Yep.
Huge weight. Even though he hits that top stone pretty thick, with that huge weight and a good rotation, easily clears the guard away. So there's some guards in play for Scotland, but they're not on the center line as they'd like. But eventually you're going to have to use one of them somewhere.
And a team you've been very impressed with, Hans, has finished their game. And China have beaten the Netherlands 9-3. So another good performance and result by them.
Yeah, great day for Liu Rui and his Chinese teammates. Wins over Scotland and the Netherlands. That's 3 in a row for Team China, and they move to 3-2. Putting themselves right back in the frame.
So just the one game over in the arena here. Elsewhere it's 3-2 for Norway over Russia. And it's 5-3 for Sweden over Japan.
Okay. This will be a testing time for Japan's team Morozumi. They were off to a 2-0 start, but in tough against Sweden, world champion Nicodine.
Still shot. He's ripped the guard.
I think the right call is to peel the guard.
Oh, yeah.
I think the right call is, yeah. You guys agree?
Oh, yeah.
You thrown
Duh. Rip the guard.
Make it a bit of come up here.
Okay.
Big decision.
Well, front end players are going, well, you're going to have you're letting us rip guards. That means you're ripping guards too, mate.
Whoa. Clean. Clean. Good throw, Mark.
Straight into it right now.
Nice clear there by Nichols. Canadian third.
We either got to guard that or freeze it.
I know. This is wrong with that second, though.
You got to freeze it then. Hey, you're wrong, guys.
Yeah, they kind of would have liked to guard their own stone, but Dave Murdoch points out, well, it's not shot. So you got to freeze the Canadian stone.
Yep.
It's been a tough day at the office for Dave Murdoch and his team. But they want to put as much of a dent into this Canadian win as they can.
T-line! Line's good.
Finish well.
It's really close.
Well, stranger things have happened on a sheet of curling ice.
We need something.
You're definitely going to need misses from Team Canada from Scottish perspective to get back in this game. And
Small bounce is good.
while that seems impossible, doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
A couple out here earlier in the game.
Yeah, they kind of
Brad
track
too.
a little, but
Mark Nichols won't mind if he removes his own stone while removing the Scottish stone.
A little quiet. Whoa. A little quiet for normal.
that's good then.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
Yep.
Sweet's
Whoa,
pretty good.
whoa, whoa.
Brad threw it here earlier.
Whoa. Off. Yep. Off. Whoa, whoa. Good shot.
By 2.
Picks it clean, freezes right in front of his own. Not quite perfectly frozen, but directly in front. So can David Murdoch squeeze the Canadian stone just to the right as we're looking at it from our overhead and leave his own sitting on a corner angle in front of it and maybe lie to and force Brad Gushu to draw the 8 against 2.
Yep. Whoa. Low form. Yep. Whoa. Gotta go. Yep.
Perfect. Great shot by Murdoch.
Yep. He'll be pleased with that one.
Stay shot by doing that.
Yep.
Still repeats that touch. Okay.
Hanging on by a thread, I think that's called.
It is.
But good shot from the Scottish skip.
And Dave made that as well as he could make it, really, and even so didn't push the Canadian stone far enough to be second shot. So now Brad Gushue can
Just hit half of it.
Yeah.
pick the Scottish stone away, and that yellow stone directly behind Mark Nichols' brush would be the counter. Still got to make it.
You put your house on it the way he's been playing.
Easy peel. Clean, clean. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. You're good.
Great shot there by Brad Gushue.
Kiss it on the way by. Tried it.
Saves the shooter. So now Dave Murdoch will be content just to nose hit and make Gushue look at two.
No more. Whatever you're seeing, it's the exact same shot, but if he rolls in at all, I think you just hit it on the nose.
Okay. Brett said the draw weight's the same, so I don't mind that.
I don't mind either. Yeah. You threw it 2 ends ago.
Yeah.
Gushue and Nichols discussing what's going to happen after this stone.
Oh, if it goes according to plan, they'll be facing
Right, control.
two Scottish red stones.
Move it. Yep. Fun barrier. Yep. Yep.
It's the question where this
Yep.
red
Hard.
finishes
Okay.
and comes to rest.
Yep. 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 Good. You're good. You're good. Good.
So that's a good result for Scotland, and you don't want to wish ill will on anybody, but if there's any stone or any shot that's the likeliest to generate a steal of two, it would be a missed draw. So it'll be interesting to see if Gushue elects to draw or hit here.
We've seen him make more hits, haven't we, than draws.
Yeah, I think like same way he threw a few ends ago there.
Yeah, I think you get away with 2 feet more than that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
That in a top 4, top
That's
button.
kind of as much as Scotland could have done here, Hans, isn't it?
Does sound like they're going to play the draw, so you'd say, okay, just got to hit the 8 foot, but as I said, sometimes that doesn't happen. Last stone on its way for Brad Gushue.
Yeah, let's see where this finishes. Facing two
Felt
Scottish
heavy down.
counters. I don't think he's too unhappy.
Tracking. Tracking. It's really tracking.
Back 8, we heard the sweeper say, so they're not out of the woods yet.
Might hang on to the backboard.
No, I think they're pretty happy with it now. Drummond taking it as far as he can, but it clings
Just
on to the
enough.
back of the 8 foot.
Yep, to get there one, and that is game over. It's another very, very impressive win for Canada against Scotland. Another very polished and very professional performance by this man, Brad Gushue. He must be feeling very good about the way his team is performing. And it was never really in doubt for much of the game. They controlled it throughout, Hans.
Comprehensive victory for Team Canada. Tough day at the office for Scotland, but full value for the Canadians, acknowledging the home crowd as they make their way down the ice. Final score is Canada 8, Scotland 2, and Team Gushue goes to 4-0, the only unbeaten team in the field here at the World Championship.
A good day for Scotland yesterday, but a bad day for them today, losing both their games. And that completes our coverage in this session. Just a quick update on the other scores. Sweden are leading Japan 5-3. Norway are in control against Russia so far, 3-2 after 8. And it was a victory for Canada. And Sweden are leading Japan. And that just about wraps up this session. Thanks very much indeed for watching. From me, Alison Walker, and Hans Furlow. Bye for now.